Now that we know that Cedar Fair invested in 4 new roller coasters for their parks in 2024, it's time to get excited for the future. And if your home park happens to be one that I mentioned in this video, then you really need to get excited because there's a great chance that a brand new major roller coaster is coming to your park in 2025. But before I spill out my predictions for the coaster lineup that Cedar Fair is planning in 2025, let's take a brief look at the 2024 lineup for comparison's sake. Because you might be curious as to why I said 4 new roller coasters when only 3 have been announced so far. Cedar Point is going to be opening the very impressive Top Thrill 2, a coaster that is now getting reimagined by Zamperla. And since this new coaster is going to cost, I would have to say, over $15 million, I predict that Cedar Point's next coaster will not come until 2027, but I will say 2026 has a slight chance. Kings Island shocked us all when they announced their new family Vekoma boomerang coaster, Snoopy's Soapbox Racer. But in my opinion, the real steal of the show for the Cedar Fair parks in 2024 is gonna have to be Dorney Park with Iron Menace, a wonderful looking mini B&M dive coaster that offers one of the best names and theme in the chain. As for the 4th coaster to open up at a park in 2024, we head to Knott's Berry Farm. And while we don't know exactly what it could be, I think it's a very safe bet that this will be a new family coaster of some kind. Maybe another family boomerang coaster from Vekoma. But that's enough about 2024 because 2025 is on my mind. And if you give this video a like, then I'm going to exchange that like with sharing which parks have the most likely shot for a new coaster in 2026. And get ready to hear my thoughts later in this video. And I think that's a very fair trade, and I really do appreciate each like. Now, let's talk about the parks that will be adding to their skyline in 2025. First up is Carowinds. Copperhead Strike was added in 2019, so Carowinds is definitely due for their next roller coaster. And while I would love to see a new GCI wooden coaster open at the park, or even a B&M dive or wing, I predict we'll be looking at a new coaster opening up on the Rip-Roaring Rapids location, and it's going to be a water coaster of some kind. Now, could it be a custom designed mock water coaster? That right there is what I would like the most, and I would love this because this combines elements of a log flume and coaster for one all new attraction. Plus, this coaster would be unique to Carowinds, so I could very well see that. I could also see a new mock Power Splash debuting at the park, and I really do love this kind of ride, and I think it would look great at Carowinds. But with Six Flags Over Georgia already announcing the brand new Intamin Ultra Surf coaster, which is very similar to the mock Power Splash, maybe Carowinds has a new idea for 2025. So it's only a matter of time, but Carowinds is due for their next roller coaster and way past due for a new water ride. And I predict that in 2025, the attraction will take on both needs. Now the good news for Carowinds is their next coaster after the water attraction in 2025 could become the second tallest in the park. And if you want more information about that and my thoughts, then be sure to check out this video once you're done watching this one. Heading up the coast to King's Dominion, and greetings from the volcano plot of land, because that's the area that's going to get all the attention very soon. With Tambili opening in 2022, I think there's a very good chance that King's Dominion is prepping for a very large 2025. This Virginia park has gotten a ton of love as of late in regards to infrastructure, and I think it's all in preparation for things to come. Taking a look at the volcano plot of land, there are a ton of different types of coasters that could benefit King's Dominion and fit in this area perfectly, which makes this prediction rather tricky. However, with Vekoma and Cedar Fair now working together, what if we would see a brand new Vekoma tilt coaster added to King's Dominion in this area? A coaster like this would dominate the skyline and really give King's Dominion a coaster that hasn't been seen before on the East Coast. Marketing wise, this would be a very smart move, especially with all the signs of a 200-foot tall or taller coaster coming to Busch Gardens Williamsburg in 2025 as well. VALLEYFAIR. You have to go back to 2007 for the last time Cedar Fair invested in a major coaster for the park, and I think 2025 will be the year for this underrated park. As for what type of coaster, I'm staying with the same prediction that I've had for years now, and that is a brand new Vekoma suspended thrill coaster. This Vekoma model looks sick and provides an experience full of inversions, quick drops and turns, airtime, and much more. VALLEYFAIR currently only offers one coaster that flips riders upside down, and that is Corkscrew, the old aero coaster that opened up in 1980. So yeah, VALLEYFAIR needs a smooth inversion coaster, and by offering a new suspended coaster, really will give VALLEYFAIR a great new ride that will be located right in the front of the park. Now, before I share my predictions for the last park on the list, I want to know what has been your favorite coaster memory so far this year. Be sure to let me know in the comments, and I cannot wait to read them. Also, do not forget to check out my Keep Riding Coasters merch store, where you can find all sorts of cool coaster gear for you to wear while you're riding your next coaster. Canada's Wonderland. In 2019, we saw Yukon Striker rise from the ground to a very impressive height of 223 feet. Then in 2023, we saw Snoopy's Racing Railway debut at the park, which is a perfect kid coaster that features a launch. Now in 2025, I predict we will see Canada's Wonderland add their fourth B&M coaster to the park. Now I know that might not excite a lot of you, but this coaster would be inversion focused and offer a launch. We know that the park released a very intriguing survey not too long ago, and you can go back and watch my past prediction videos for the park, but I've always said I can easily see a brand new B&M inverted coaster open at the park. But here's the kicker. What if this was the world's first launched B&M inverted coaster? Now talk about wild. And I do think Canada's Wonderland's next coaster could also be something different than what we saw on that survey. I really feel like this park could benefit most from a mock multi-launch coaster. And who knows, maybe even a mock extreme spinner. So Canada's Wonderland is one of the harder parks to predict, but whatever they're investing in for the 2025 season, I think it's safe to say that it's going to be rather large. So with Kings Island, Cedar Point, Knott's Berry Farm, and Dorney Park all getting new coasters in 2024, and with my predictions of Kings Dominion, Carowinds, Canada's Wonderland, and VALLEYFAIR for the following year, brings up the question, which Cedar Fair parks could get a new coaster in 2026? Kings Island, and Kings Island. The spotlight is going to be on this Mason, Ohio park in 2026. And if you want to know how large, then you have to check out this Kings Island coaster concept that I created and give you all the juicy details on this one-of-a-kind coaster that's going to change the Kings Island skyline forever. And you can find the link for it in the description of this video. But this coaster would pay homage to Vortex in more ways than one, and could easily become the best coaster in the history of Kings Island. As for the other Cedar Fair parks, the biggest question of them all is, does Michigan's Adventure have a shot at a new coaster in 2026? And I'm gonna say there is a 99% chance of that not happening. So wait a minute, Brandon, you're saying there's a chance? Yes, of course there is. Now, kidding aside, I really do think Michigan's Adventure could very well get a brand new coaster in 2026. And no, it's not Trash Can the Ride. I honestly think it could be a brand new RMC Wild Moose family coaster, which is basically RMC's version of a Wild Mouse coaster opening up at Michigan's Adventure in 2026. A ride like this would really give Michigan's Adventure a much needed new coaster that's going to attract people from all over the region to come ride. I also predict that this will be the year that Knott's Berry Farm goes all in for their next major coaster. The Southern Cali Park needs a large steel coaster to compete with the Fast and Furious ride that's opening up at Universal Studios Hollywood and whatever Six Flags Magic Mountain is cooking up. Overall, I'm very excited about the future of new coasters at the Cedar Fair parks, and I think you should be as well. What are your thoughts about my predictions, and what are yours? Be sure to let me know in the comments, and don't forget to give this video a like. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters.